Hello, sports fans, and welcome back to the NRL Supercoach BDE podcast. We are the best draft experts, bringing you all the action here live on YouTube. Boys, halfback, 5'8" to come. How do you feel,
Oh,
Todd
yeah.
Brown?
Well, all the sexy men, 5'8", halfback, all the good-looking blokes, the pretty boys, the boys with the skills to pay the bills, and probably, the reason you win your league this year. So, yeah, mate, I'm very excited with that one.
Oh, coming in with some rhyme. You gotta love it. Simo, tough act to follow, mate.
Yeah, there'll be none of that over here. Absolutely not happening. No way.
Keep it on the straight and narrow for us, Simo.
That's it. It's serious business here. But Toddy's right. Like, it is serious business because these guys do win your league or possibly lose your league. You stuff this position up, I don't see how you're going to win the league just about. So, if you have a big guy, obviously that's good. But if you go fullback early or something along those lines, you can find a few sort of mid-range guys that could do a job for you. That's important. But if you really balls it up, then good luck to you.
It's really hard to win with a weakness in the halves, isn't it, Simo? You need two that can regularly have a chance to win your weeks to really stay in the hunt.
Yeah. You need guys that can match upside in that position because if you don't have it, it's just the way they play, it's just not going to happen.
Absolutely. So, boys, let's start off with halfback. The age-old question: Cleary or Hines? Is no more. Jerome Hughes has to be in the mix, surely. Todd?
Yeah, I've got Cleary Hines. Cleary Hughes Hines. That's how I'm rolling with it, baby. I got some respect on the name for Hughes. Like, obviously, plenty of last year without Munster, but still was incredible. And even when Musk came back, he was awesome. Actually, a little bit better. So, yeah, I've got Hughes up there in between the Hines dog.
Does Tricky kick at the Sharks, Simo?
I wouldn't think so. Like, Nico fully fit, I think he still is good enough to have that spot. If he doesn't kick, it's obviously a big loss to his value. That's for sure. It doesn't
Hughes
sink
is in front then, right?
Well, for me, it would be a conversation, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, Toddy's got it ranked that way already. I've got
As
it
do I.
Hines Hughes, so I'm different to you boys.
Mhm.
I think the kicking is one thing, but if he was to lose it, it would be a lot closer for me. I reckon I probably would switch it. It is that close, but it's definitely something you have to factor in because Tricky's pretty much a lock to make that team now. Whether he's halfback or 5'8", Hines will be the other. So, interesting conversation to be had there at the top of the draft.
Very much so. And the question for me lies, how much later could you get Hughes? Because I still think it will be Cleary 1, Hines 2 in a lot of drafts, just for recent, averages and the chance that they both are elite. Can you sneak Hughes into the second round, or is he an auto first round now?
Oh, mate, for me, Hughes is auto top 5, just about. Like, I wouldn't even argue if anyone went those three players 1, 2, 3 in a draft because just because of the advantage it gives you over everyone else at that position. And, in the fullback pod, we laid out so many fullbacks that
late
you can wait on. So, it won't be the norm, but there'll be leagues out there where you see these guys go first, second, third. And if you get Hughes anywhere past, like, pick, I don't know, 6, I reckon you're stealing him. So,
snap.
Second round's crazy to me.
Yep, okay, just checking in. So, although you've got Hines higher, the temperature on Hughes' ascending talent is still very elite. So, split.
Well, look, this conversation is purely just a preseason, like off-season / preseason thing. Like, if you asked me this in round 26 last year, like, Hughes was dominating Nico in every way. Nico had a real down year towards the end last year. Started off really well, but towards the back end got injured, fell off. Obviously missed out on Origin and whatnot. Then Trindle obviously had a bit of an effect as well, which sort of can't be overstated in itself. But this was a no conversation at some point last year that it was going to be Hughes over Hines. But as the preseason sort of worn on, Hines has sort of gained a bit of momentum. I think I've sort of dug more deep into how I think the Sharks are going to play. which is sort of just giving me a little bit more confidence in Nico again, and I'm okay with him still high in the draft.
Is a big consideration as well that he's going to get dual, right? He's apparently playing 5/8 this year.
I mean, if that happens, it's a bonus, isn't it? Like, I'm not factoring that in really because I'm okay with him just as a halfback regardless. But like, if he gets dual, then even better, I suppose. But to me, like, it sounds weird, but it doesn't change my value of him drastically. It's handy.
Okay.
I'm not gonna deny that. But I mean, I've already got him 2 anyway, so it's probably different for you boys because you've got Hughes above. Like, would the dual swap that in your minds? Because as I
Could
said,
be a
I'm already there.
tiebreaker. Yeah, could be. If goal kicking, I've got him 2. If goal kicking and dual, definitely 2. Todd?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that, mate. Yeah.
Yep.
Probably in the same boat.
This is where things get a bit messy at halfback, boys, and why I'm more nervous about this position than I can remember. Aging DCE, who was a bit down last year, just at the sort of mid-60s, didn't hit the upside as much as you'd like as an owner. Mitch Moses with that goal kicking is terrifying. I'm not going to even pretend in a team that I don't think going to be great. Cody Walker's starting the year injured, and let's be honest, his peak Supercoach days are gone. Tell me anyone else you're excited about, and I'm not even excited about any of those.
One, Dylan Brown, dual.
Dylan Brown, sure. Yeah.
Could be a go there if you're looking to get away from DCE. But for me, like, I think I've got DCE as the next guy up.
Yeah, so Moses is there next for me if he's goal kicking. Just as a tiebreaker. DCE
And they've already
very
confirmed
close.
that Lomax is going to kick, right?
I haven't
Hasn't been
seen the
confirmed?
absolute official, but that's what I presume it'll be, Todd. Yeah.
Hmm.
In fact, I'm going
I'll
to move
just
it
say,
now.
That's pretty crazy to me that that's the way it's panned out.
I
because,
agree. I absolutely
Like, I was
agree.
just saying to one of my mates the other day. I mean, obviously the stats don't lie, so I've been proven wrong on this. But I just thought anecdotally, me just watching footy, to me, Mitch Moses is a different class of goal
He's
kicker
elite.
than Zach Lomax.
Couldn't agree more.
But apparently last year they kicked at the same clip, so I don't know. I'm a bit of a bit set back by that. I feel it's just hard to it's hard to value Moses without the kicking because I still kind of can't fathom the fact that it's not happening.
I'm with you, mate, and I got to tell you, I thought because the Eels would be involved in a lot of garbage time situations this year, just late throwing the ball around to earn points, I figured Moses with goal kicking would be quite good this year. I've faded him as a target.
Yeah. At some point, do you think he becomes value in case we're wrong? Like if he does somehow kick? Because all signs, you're right, all signs are pointing to Lomax taking the tee. So at what point do you just go, look, I'll take the punt on him. If he ends up kicking, I've won the lottery here.
Yeah, certainly. And let's face it, compared to the other options at the back end of the 10, he's clearly still superior to them anyway. So if you get, I'm trying to think of good value, Simo, where you're excited. Like, are we thinking he's at the start of 4? Is that too optimistic?
I think that's where he should go. If not, even that might even be a bit early. I think without the kicking.
Okay, if I just scarcity, Simo. So think about these halfbacks. After Cody Walker, there are some people here that I really don't want to draft. You know, you don't want to count on Jamal Fogarty. That's not it. Adam Reynolds. Katoa hasn't shown any Supercoach upside yet, really. Jerome Luai, who knows?
That's the one, really. Like, it really comes down to if you're a Luai believer or not.
Yeah.
I feel like for those listeners out there, if you are someone that believes in Luai, you've probably got a lot more of an easier decision than the people who aren't big on Luai.
Yep.
Personally, I'm neither here nor there on Luai. I feel like I'd be okay drafting Jerome Luai if you could just not have to reach too high to get him. If you can settle for him, I'm okay with it because I don't really have the needle swaying one way or another on him. I just feel like there'll be a lot of leagues out there where there'll be just one guy that thinks Luai's just going to kick on at Wests. And based on the year he had last year at the Panthers, like he's shown Supercoach potential with the 7 on his back. So I just think there'll be one person in the league that sees him at a juncture where I'm not willing to pay that price. But if he was to sort of fall to, like, it'd have to be the 5th round, late 5th round, for me to start looking at Luai, I think. And I just don't think he'll go that far. I think Moses will sort of go, back end, mid to back end of 4. And then Luai, I'd almost be shocked if he wasn't the next guy to go off the board, because of all the names you listed there, he's the one that's got the most sort of potential upside, at least, anyway.
Sneaky vote for Tricky Trindle if he goal kicks, Tots. He did show a bit on the run home.
Yeah, he showed enough on the run home on Tricky Trindle. I don't mind it, but like Simo just talked about Luai there and Moses, and I'm definitely well more up on those guys. Trindle actually just comes in ranked for me just after Luai. So I think that Luai's got a little bit more upside. And then just if Hines gets back to taking control of that team and really running it again, being fit and whatnot, Trindle could become a bit of a passenger. But from what we saw last year, I'd still be keen on Luai over Trindle.
The other one, boys, is Luke Metcalf. It's no secret that goal kicking plus he will be dual 6 weeks into the season if it sets up as they've said. Apparently 7 is his role.
Should be before the season.
It really should, Simo. It should be a correction, but I don't think it will be.
I don't know. I feel like didn't Sangster come out and say that they're gonna review them before the season kicked off?
God, I hope so.
Because that's what the chatter about Nico being dual is going to be. Like,
I thought that was the case too.
If Nico's named on Team List Tuesday with a 6 on his back, I'm pretty sure they're going to go and make updates. So Metcalf would be the same.
Well, Metcalf's huge here in the halfback rankings, boys. Obviously, it's easy to get excited about that one trial where Warriors look crap, but he looked likely. Will goal kick and only has to keep TMM away from that. So, for last year's attempts. He comes straight after Luai or above, boys, then, doesn't he, in the halfback rankings?
Yeah, I've just slotted him into the halfbacks just in case. And actually, he just comes in just above Trindle, below Luai. So Luai, Metcalf, Trindle.
That's pretty much what I was looking at myself, mate. Don't hate it.
Don't hate it. You don't have to love it because it's weird. He's sort of Lukey Metcalf is unproven, especially at halfback, but he did look good. Has that running style of game too that he should pop up plenty of points. So yeah, I do like it.
So it's fair to say, back to the top of the rankings here, given how dire it gets quickly, pony up for one of the top 3 if you possibly can. How much do you push DCE, Moses, Dylan Brown, Walker up the board then to make sure you're not stuck with Luai, Metcalf, Trindle? Fogarty probably is next, I guess.
Yeah. Geez, it's a good question because one of my biggest fears in leagues out there is if someone was to say, let's say the top of the draft goes Cleary, Turbo, Ponga, Hines. So let's say Hines goes 4th. Or even Hughes, if Hughes goes to like 6th or 7th overall, as I said earlier, which is very possible. I'd be so shocked. Like, I'd be scared if Dylan Brown is still there for that team in round 2. Because if they go, let's say Hughes, Dylan Brown, 1st and 2nd round, and then they've just double dipped effectively into the halfback pool, the position, which is already shit, just gets obliterated real quick. And it's kind of scary because I think, like, for me, I'd have Dylan Brown as a 2nd rounder, I think, and probably in that range.
He fizzled last year. I was hyping him, but obviously had the circumstances in his personal life and whatnot. The potential is there. He's still an ascending star, and he looked good on the run home. If he bumps his average closer to 70, what a great 2nd round pick, Simo.
Yeah, like, it's value there, and
yeah, I agree.
He could push early 2nd value because this time a year ago he was basically like the 6th or 7th.
Yeah. Him versus Munster was very, very close. It still is, by the way, but yeah. Okay.
It's a lot of 2nd rowers in there as well, CTWs. So it's really hard to predict what that part of the draft will look like because
Mhm.
so many people can just do so many different things. It's all, all different positions. You'll have owners in your league that are happy to take TRFs there, ones that aren't. Same with CTWs. Obviously, Harry Green will be somewhere as well. So, yeah.
Right.
I just feel like you've got a duty to your league to not let Dylan Brown go to the owner of a halfback in round one because it's going to be hard for everyone if that happens.
Yeah, Dylan still will attract an early two, I'd like to think,
Yeah.
which will stop that Simo. But I love you, mate. Snap pick for any of those that got a halfback in round one.
Yeah,
Or
what
a
worries
fullback,
me,
to be fair.
it worries me the most, like leagues where Hughes slides or
Yeah.
Hines slides for whatever reason. Say you're in a league where the fullbacks go early.
Yep.
If Latrell, Walsh, Drinkwater, Tedesco, if those guys end up going before Hughes or Hines, whichever is last, all of a sudden it hasn't got to be a very high two for that stack to happen. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
It's dire, though, boys. I think halfback is the position this year that more than ever, you get a fully fit Cleary for at least 75% of games. Hughes being as good as he was last year, a resurgent Nico. I got to say, that's the pick you want in round one. It's pretty, to me, it's very obvious this year, more than ever. Kind of sucks. I wish it wasn't so condensed. And I've always been I like to grab, DCE or Moses or one of those in previous. I still think the gap from them to the tops might be too big to really enjoy them in round two.
Yeah, I
Is
think
that the
you're
feel?
right. Yeah, that's the feel, man. That's the feel. Those top three just carry so much weight to them, eh?
Yeah. All right, Sai. Just saying that, boys. It's pretty dire. So let's pretend you've not got one of the top three. You don't want to pull the trigger in two on DCE, Moses, or Dylan. Simo, you're sort of talking me into moving Dylan a bit higher, and you might actually be right with Moses losing the goal kicking. I think you might actually be onto something there. However, we need to, I guess, cater to those who want to wait a bit longer. Tamari Martin would be terrifying. If he plays seven, he did good last year in the absence of SJ, Supercoach wise as well. But if he plays six, you just don't even draft him.
Anything that happens, if he plays anything like he did on that trial, he was literally may as well have been out there. I could have played 5'8" for the Warriors.
It really was. I just don't want to be the guy that has to start Jamal Fogarty every week and watch the Raiders just kick and try and hope to score off kick assist tries. It's
somehow they do it though. It's a miracle. I don't know how.
Mate, real life it's fine. Supercoach, his big week is a 67. Oh, yippee.
Oh, I think he cracked a hundred a couple of times last year. Just saying.
I think he cracked one.
I'm just
Surely
not.
Surely
I'm not on the Foggy train.
I don't think he did.
I mean, he missed half the season.
Is this a Xavier Coates moment? Have you got him ranked about 3 here, Simmer?
No, I was on him last year. I'm off him now.
I'm off him.
Yeah, I'm off him now.
Little bit of a wild card if you were going to wait. I think there's a couple of names. Todd, I'm going to ask you about the second one, but the first one is Sandon Smith. He's getting the start. He's going to have to do a lot in that team for them to score any points, Simo. And he's showed a little bit when he's played in the halves.
He has. I kind of think back to one of the tries he scored last year where he put on a really good step to score. I can't remember which game. The Roosters got blown out whichever game it was. So it was probably junk time. So I probably shouldn't be putting too much stock into it. But he kicked heaps in New South Wales Cup for the Chooks. So I don't think he'll be overawed by kicking full time when he gets to the spot. So he'll be an interesting one, Sandon Smith. He's obviously got the hooker duel as well. So you can't wait too long because he is in danger of being drafted in another position. But I like your shout there. I think he's clearly that late round guy that will end up because he could easily outperform the same as these other guys who are talking in that range. Like, there's no definitively saying that he's going to be, even though we all have it ranked, that Luai and Reynolds and that will be better over the course of the season. It's no guarantee. It's not a huge gap that Sandon Smith has to make up. So, for the value you can get him at, I think it's worth the squeeze.
He's a great punt. And there is the potential here as well that Sam Walker, obviously, what a shame. We'd be talking about him well and truly, well, easy fourth, I would think, or at
Oh,
least
yeah.
in that convo, maybe pushing Nico,
I'd be
in my
higher,
opinion.
yeah.
It'd be high.
Yeah. Be
So
higher.
we'll talk about that next year, hopefully. Sanders Smith and Sam Walker combo as a draft and hold Walker. That's the obvious one, Todzer. Any
Yeah.
appeal to that for you?
Absolutely none, mate. Big fan.
Really?
Mm.
Okay. Sorry, absolutely. Like, as in you would consider that theory?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I misunderstood you. Too tired to ask a question like that. I think it should be done. I think that if you go commit to that combo, it won't cost you a heap of draft stock either. I wouldn't think. But do pay attention to leagues, boys, where they've forgotten Sam Walker's brutally injured because he'll go hilariously early.
And then you get the banter.
You do. And make sure listeners,
You
if
have to
you have
feed
that
them.
happen in your leagues, please send that in for a bit of lols. All right, we want
Feed
to
them
see it.
too.
Yeah. Now, other options is the South's halfback interests me. If it is either guy has potentially something for Supercoach. So Lewis Dodd, as we know, tore up Super League, has decent pedigree, could be interesting. Humphreys absolutely tearing it up pre-season, excites me a bit because apparently he's everything Lachlan Ilias isn't.
Oh, so he can play football. How good.
Can pass, kick, not look terrified when he defends.
Holy.
You know? You can't bowl and you can't throw.
Missed that one.
Sports
Get around at sports fans.
Oh, you're on your own there, mate.
I'm just telling you what everybody knows.
We're howdy.
All right. Any interest there, Simo, in the South? You want me to keep going?
No, yeah, please stop. No, yeah, please stop. Look, I like the call. I think they're both. Yeah, they're both very good shouts if they can nail down the spot.
Yeah.
I think Dodd. I'd be happy to take him as my starter if I had to. If I get to this point in the draft, you'd want to make sure you got Humphreys though, because the worry with these two is that they chop and change the spot throughout the year. Like I think Dodd will get the first crack, but if he underperforms, then Humphreys will come in. You hope they don't sort of cannibalize each other a little bit like that. But the play would be to draft both, as it is with the the Roosters pair that you talked about just then. So, I like them a lot as late round values because one should be okay.
Agreed. It's a good. Those two, I've actually updated my rankings here with Sandon, Walker, Dodd, Humphreys, just all in a 4. I think they're both a really good strat with at least a borderline top 10 guy week to week either.
Yeah, the big thing with Dodd is like we haven't seen that many Pommy halves come out and kill it. Like George Williams was the last one who, and probably one of the only ones that really did. And when he came out that first year, you got him at ridiculous draft value because no one knew what he could do.
That's right.
And those question marks is what is allowing you to get Dodd so late. And for the fact you can get him so late, it's just well worth the crack because if he doesn't pan out, you just move on. But if you get a version of George Williams 2.0 because of the unknown with him, like why wouldn't you? So,
God, he was a nuggety beast, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. He was good.
Yeah.
I rated him. Yeah.
Did good fit at the Raiders too. Adam Reynolds. Now it's a tough sell, but remember Broncos' dominant home games where he kicks about bloody 8 goals this year. He's like what I'll call a great little spot start to pair with someone else. So if you could look at matchups and try and be creative there. If you get stuck without one of the top guys, could work.
Don't mind it. Just massive injury risk.
Huge.
Also, even coming back in that first 9 weeks while Ezra Mem's having a break, just how much ball Ben Hunt's going to demand. They're both going to be it's going to be a weird dynamic. I'm not too sure. So, like you said, in those rounds, you can maybe
deep.
Yeah. Obviously deep rounds, but also pivot and play the matchup with a guy even someone like Sexy Toby Sexton. Couldn't get his name out then.
Sexty Sobin.
Sexty
Yeah, boy.
couldn't get his name out. But
sounds like a bit of stationery. Beautiful, mate.
I've been trying to pair someone like Adam Reynolds with sexy Toby, just to. I'll keep going back to it. Sexy Toby. Toby
Sorry,
Sexton.
who's that Canterbury
Toby
player
Sexton.
again?
Toby Sexton.
Tabexty Sexty. All right. You landed on a good theory here, Tots. I was thinking, like, if you wanted to have a crack at your boy Katoa, there is a very talented player in there, but is he going to be Darren Lockyer, Kieran Foran of yesteryear, where he's the second pass before the action happens, ergo try contribution at most?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, it's what we saw a lot of from the Dolphins last year. He looks so good taking the ball to the line, then playing at the back. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
You just want to see like a lot more development from him, which he did develop last year. He sort of went up a level, but I still think he's quite far away. I think he's really green.
And possibly a tough year for the Finns as well.
Yeah, I mean, they don't even know who their six
keen.
is going to be this year. The Avarillo, is it Nicarima? Like, that kind of stuff happening pre-season. Like, it's not huge confidence for a 20-year-old half to be going in and trying to lead a team around. You don't even know who your six is going to be. So,
and I asked you for a reason, Todd. You're a big fan. I get it.
Massive fan of Zach Katoa, yeah. I think we all are.
You love him to have the kicking, just to prop him up a little bit. But,
yeah.
We can't always get what we want. But if you could just get like 12 to 16 points a game off kicks, just to give him that little bit more of a base, to get up to like 40, whereas at the moment his base is just so poor. It's frustrating because he is such a good player to watch.
Yeah. It's not out of the realms of possibility, though, that young superstar just suddenly finds his gear this season. He likely will be on waivers. I think that's actually very realistic. He'll get drafted because people know him. He'll likely get dropped. I would just think he might be one we're paying closer attention to a little later in the year.
Yeah. Well, I have him ranked literally right behind Adam Reynolds. So
yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Just on Reynolds, going back to him, I mean, I drafted him last year off the exact same premise you said before about Broncos home games when they towel teams, like you can kick a million goals. I swear that just didn't eventuate. I don't even think once last year.
He played about 4 games, didn't he?
He got injured in 2 of them. Like he was 40 something at half time and then was cooked. I think the other one was the bicep game as well.
Oh, yes.
As much as Reynolds is so alluring because of the Broncos when they do play at home, they can rack up a score, which he did do 2 years ago, but he's just that little bit older now.
It's hard.
Oh, what do you do with him? I mean,
I'd prefer not, Simo. Don't get me wrong, but we're just trying to cater to those who miss out on any of that top 7 because some are,
Yeah. Like at this point, he's worth it.
Like we're down to once you hit. I'm going to count Metcalf once he gets dual. Should at least be enough each week to be in a starter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's 9. Someone's going to have to start Trindle, Fogarty, Sanders, Smith, one of the South boys. And then you get to Tamare, Reynolds, Katoa, that right. So Metcalf to start the year won't be. And remember your very well pointed out theory, Simo. You could get multiple double ups here with Dylan Brown, Walker, and Luai going to one of the owners of Cleary, Hughes, or Hines. It's pretty terrifying, but 2 or 3 of these guys may need to be started come week 1.
Yeah,
man, I'll just be paying up in drafts for a halfback, man.
Bro,
Mitchell Mo's going to look like the second coming of God.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Todd.
So.
It's unbelievable.
It brings us back around to the it brings us back to the Moses conversation, right back to the start. Like, that's why these guys have to get pushed up. And as we're talking about it live now, you start to adjust the dial and go.
You have to.
Where do you think? Like I said, sort of. I thought Moses' value is the 4th rounder, but he can get pushed up so much higher based on scarcity and need.
Yeah. Pretty scary out here in the wilderness of halfback. Real quick ones. What's that Canterbury halfback, Todd?
Sexy Toby Sexton.
Tabrexty Sexton.
Sexty Toby Sexton. Good bloke.
He's an interesting fellow, and I don't think he's actually a bad footballer or a bad fit for the Bulldogs, but probably not anything we're looking at here.
I mean, with the I mean, last year, these are the last few games, like 54, 56. There's two low scores here, 35 and 28. But apart from that, 42, 70, 50, 57, 56, 60, 58. Like, he came good at the end of the last year. He's a good player. And that's the kind of like solid, like real solid scores there that can just get you by once you're in those deep rounds. Like, I
Is he
actually
that
really like
different
Toby
to
Sexton.
Jamal Fogarty? That's like
I think
really...
he offers more upside. no, I don't actually mean that. Yeah, you're right.
Apparently,
like, but
it's
that's
not
the thing.
that much different.
Someone's going to have to start Fogarty, and someone's going to have to start probably Toby Sexton, even in a 10-man league. So,
okay. Quick mention of guys that are at the back end of this list. I just went deep because it looked horrible. So I'm going to just list them. You guys say anyone that has any interest whatsoever, all right? Jackson Hastings, Chad Townsend,
big Chad guy.
Tyron Wishart,
Yeah.
Brad Schneider, the most
Wishart,
German-looking fella.
Wishard's
Wishart's all right. Like he's definitely not a starter week one, but as a bench guy, if you get these guys at the back end of the 10 that we're not happy with, you get Wishart, especially on your bench. We saw last year that it could break for you, and you get a good starter if it does work out.
Dead set. I was talking to a fellow Knights fan. I'm like, is there any chance he's not locked down on a long, good deal? Because, yes, please.
Yeah.
No one's going to Knights, mate. Not even Jonah Pezzett.
Excuse me. I don't want Jonah Pezzett. I ranked him dead last of these rankings just because I hate his guts.
Didn't even have him ranked.
Mine's out of spite, Todd. Not out of bleeping skill. In fantasy's not bad. Okay. Ethan Sanders I've ranked here just because if Raiders start slow, that's going to get quite loud really quick because he's really good.
Yeah.
Lachlan Ilias starting at the Dragons. Who does he have news on to get a starting gig after what he showed at South?
Just good mates with Flato, bro.
What a halves combo.
It's so bad. Holy.
To start a season, hand on heart, that might be the worst one I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's.
I can't think of worse.
I mean, you'd know being a Knights fan. Surely you can...
Trust me. When I see the names Tyson Gamble, Jack Cogger, Phoenix Crossland, and Jackson Hastings, the fact I'm saying that with confidence, there's a reason.
Yeah.
How are they a starting halves combo in the NRL?
Shout out to that week. Remember last year there was that week where Chris Randall was named at 7 for...
That's right.
Yeah.
I remember it.
Bro, I played against him that week, and didn't he set up like 2? Absolute dog. I'm pretty sure.
He liked to plunge over last year, Chrissy Randall. Can tackle too.
I'm pretty sure Weaver came in and played, didn't he?
I didn't mind Weaver, actually.
Chrissy Randall started at 6 numerous times.
Simo, that's a good point out. That was the worst on any 1 week that we'd read. This is going into a season.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
No, you want no piece of it whatsoever.
No. And every time you think the Dragons are going to be okay, you look at that and you just don't get it. Anyway, Foreign, Tanner Boyd, who we don't think will get the start. Phoenix Crossland, Jack Cogger, Jockey Madden, who looked good as a fill-in before he got injured, and Jonah the Turd Peasant.
Newy local.
Anything going on there?
For me, Sanders is the one. You said him before.
Yeah.
These young rookies that have hype. You look at what Galvin did last year.
Yeah.
Just you're better off taking a chance on a guy that you don't really know what he could be. The flip side of that is, Galvin was in a great situation with a coach that really embraced his ability to just play his natural game.
Yep.
Ricky Stewart is the polar opposite of that. And that's the...
Facts.
That's the downside.
Simo.
That is very good.
That's
Ricky. I do love Ricky Stewart. I actually do. Not just I rag the Raiders on this podcast. I actually really rate Ricky. It's just you got to understand his flaws as well, and unleashing players to do whatever they want. Like
that's not his go.
It worked. It worked for him with Leilua and Rapana that year. But then he's just
very true.
It's not in his DNA though. It's not something he does.
But I tell you who flies in the face of that theory. He let do exactly what he's capable of doing. Morgan, Mr. Dynamic Smithies. Hello.
If you can plod, you are more than welcome. God forbid, Horsburgh comes on and tries to offline and knocks on.
Bro. Whenever I watch Morgan Smithies, I'm like, British Daniel Wagon? Where'd you come from?
It's straight up and down, isn't it? Oh, that head.
Run sideways.
He just always looks confused.
He does it. He shuffles. Anyway, that's it, boys. Halfback is that dire. The advice that I know the boys have said already, if you've got an early pick, do not overthink it. I know Turbo looks attractive. I know Ponga looks fantastic. There's some love for Latrell early year. Don't overthink it. Grab one of the top 3 halfbacks. Be happy that you did.
Facts.
Any upgrades on that? That's just facts, right?
Oh, mate, you just that's the host doing his bit, mate. That's well done
Thanks,
by you.
mate.
I think, DCE we've probably been a bit harsh on, but like there is no worry with DCE as
No, there isn't.
So him and Brown, like,
Did drop off hard last year though, like from a 4-point average.
He
did,
and
pretty
as an
far.
owner, Todd, there wasn't the spike games that you used to with him quite as much. It was a bit more of just a consistent. Pardon me, he'd give you 60 to 75 on a good week instead of that boom 4 try assists explosion.
Yeah, and he also kicked a lot last year, didn't he? Because
He did.
Garrick missed a fair few games. Or at least got knocked out in a couple, and then
I think DCE and TMM went to the same goal kicking school.
That's harsh on DCE.
That is pretty average.
He's not that bad.
Holy.
It's a nervous little swipe at the ball, to be fair. But you know I love DCE, by the way. Listen,
well, it sounds like it.
Big
Yeah.
fan.
Yeah,
I
big fan.
drafted him probably more than any player, I reckon.
It sounds like you're back on the wagon.
I'll end up with DCE in round 2. It just happens every
It really
time.
sounds
for me.
like it. Yeah.
Cool. I'm just putting you off the scent, Simo. It's draft on the
Well,
weekend.
yeah.
Oh, I also really dislike Latrell Mitchell. Don't get on that scent.
Okay. 5/8. Just going to give it an overall. It's a little juicier than halfback. It's flipped from previous years for me. There are some options here a bit deeper down, and I don't mind it.
Fair.
Yep.
Don't mind that. Yeah, I'm seeing 13 odd names, and I think that's pretty deep in a single position.
Do you want to just list them out so we can?
Yeah, I'll fire away.
Oh, yeah.
So I've actually made a late. Oh, have you got the joint one, Simo? Sorry.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't do the consensus one. I'm a lazy bastard.
All good. No dramas. Won't cast aspersions. Cam Munster, Matt Burton. I have since pushed after the last podcast. Jaden Campbell's come up to 3 for me. I've actually got a little bit keener, had a deeper think about that situation. I think he is going to be quite good. Injury risk factored in. Dylan Brown, Cody Walker, Lockie Galvin, Tommy Dearden, Blaze Talungi, Ben Hunt, who the most ridiculous change in positions from Supercoach people.
What a stitch up that is. That's stupid.
Thank you, Todd. What are they doing?
I just hope the Broncos name him in the 7 and put Redo in the 6. So they have to change it back.
like he's gonna play all 3 positions this year, most likely at some stage.
I reckon he plays half the most.
If the Bronx have it their way from round 11 or 12, he has to have dual hooker. Sure.
Yeah.
That's the only saving grace I'll give him is at least they've left room open for him to gain hooker. Yeah, you're right. 5'8's probably going to be the position he plays the least when the year's said and done.
I would think so.
But if I'd put my money on it, hooker will be the position he plays the most.
I think so too.
So
depending how amazing,
as long as he gets that, I'm fine with it.
Simo, depending how amazing Blake Moser actually looks, because he's genuinely talented. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, true.
Okay. Ripping through. So far, pretty juicy list. Braden Trindle, who is obviously dual. KO Weeks is interesting to me if he plays fullback. Jerome Luai is there. Metcalf is there. Ethan Strange is there. I've just given you a list of guys I think are at least very startable week on week, right?
Mm-hmm. Strange, not so much, but
There's a little bit there, Todd. He showed a bit.
yeah,
You don't think so at all?
not really. I generally think that if the Sanders comes through and they're going to give him game time, the Raiders aren't going great. They'll do Strange to the centres because he only has to push out Sebastian Chris.
So they should.
No.
That's
Rep
their best
player.
team, I reckon.
Yeah,
That's their
I
best
agree.
team.
So my question there, though, I know a bit about Ethan Sanders, but you've got a great knowledge of these younger players. Is him playing as a running 6 actually a possibility, or does he need to be a 7?
Oh, at this stage of his career, he is too small, probably.
Okay.
To just in terms of like just frame, he'd be.
Yeah, gotcha.
But then again, like we said the same thing about Galvin. You know, like sometimes you just don't know. Sanders is a bit more, has sort of a bit more guile, I guess, to his game. He's a bit more polished, but he can kick too. I mean, left footer, like he's. Yeah, I'd love to see them if round 1 if they name Sanders 6 and can somehow find a way to start Strange at centre, that'd be amazing. I actually think that they'll find a way to not have Strange in the team first couple of weeks.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I was predicting their team, I reckon Sanders will be 6.
Wow, it's a huge call. That then you must have Sanders pretty juicily ranked in the halfback, Simo.
I think I have him about 12 or 13, just outside the top 10. So he's just one of those guys that's like a bench player that I'd be interested in having.
Considering how thin halfback is, he's only got to average 55 plus with a little sneaky bit of upside, and he's probably bottom of the top 10.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's someone that if you draft Reynolds, I'd be looking to.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good hot take, Simo. I quite like that. And we know the talent's there, and Canberra needs some dynamism to their attack really badly. So, good one. All right. Going back to these 5/8 rankings then, I've got Munster 1, which I think, am I assuming is an agreement from the team?
Yeah.
Bounce back year potential. Really?
No.
Wow.
What's Luke Metcalf doing up that high?
Hello.
Get on the Metcalf, boys.
I would love you to have said Tamari Martin there, but yep. Todd's up. How and why?
I just got Dylan Brown ranked above him. I think Dylan Brown gets back to the 2 years prior, getting up to that close to that 75 average. And Money Munster to me, like it's been weird. Just the whole off-season hip surgery. I know he's, scheduled to come back and all that sort of stuff, the trials, but like it's just a little bit of an injury cloud over Munster to start the year. I think he's going to start slow, so hence why I have Dylan Brown above him.
Okay. My take on that, Simo, maybe we're in the same boat. I think because they, end of season, had time to rest up, have the surgery, get that proper healed from what happened last year, I think we're going to see a Money that's ready to explode again and dominate Origin.
Yeah, I think he's just... Munster's that sort of player that if he has a bee in his bonnet, which he will do because he'll want to prove people wrong from last year because
he was poor.
He had a dud year because of the injuries and whatnot. He'll have fire in his belly to bounce back. And obviously they lost the grand final too, so there's motivation there for Munster. To Todd's point though, like the big thing with those two players in particular, like if Toddy had said, like, because our league plays through the buys, Munster's going to play Origin, obviously. Brown won't. So there could be a couple more games there you'll get Brown for. I could understand the ranking for that being the tiebreaker if it's close. So I'm okay. Like obviously it's not an egregious thing; it's a personal preference one. Brown's still young, got an arrow pointing up. Munster, he's been around a long time, so that he could easily regress. But do I think it will? No, I'll be backing him in, and he's one of those guys I'm willing to be proven wrong with because he's just got that dog in him,
Oh, it's a fun sword to die on, eh?
Yeah. Yep. It points more likely, I think, to return to form or at least parity. So a 70-ish average, which is still going to be bloody good in a tough spot. But Todd, does that mean you push him down out around 1 potentially? It'll be close.
Be close. Depends who's still there at the end of round one. Like maybe I would like to go like a fullback into Munster kind of thing, fullback into Dylan Brown.
Okay.
Yeah. So if I was on that 10 turn, I'd be taking the probably best available fullback and looking at a Munster, Dylan Brown, depending which one's still there.
Decent take. I honestly think most leagues you'll still drop into round one because of name representation.
Possibly, yeah.
But good shout. For me, the other one, boys, is I've got a feeling Matt Burton's about to just crank it up slightly. Just not by much. Needs about 4 or 5 more on last year. And that consistency he started to show, when they were on that run and he started to actually do a bit more than just kick it to Addo Carr. I love that Addo Carr's not there now because now he's actually running it a bit more and doing his own thing. I've got him at 2. I'm pretty hype on Matt Burton this year.
Yeah, it's definitely ballsy, I think. For me, it is. Yeah, I think it's pretty close between him and Dylan Brown. I'm not super on Dylan Brown, so I could easily be persuaded to go that way as well. I don't know what it is though. Like the fact you've got him ranked there basically is you saying I've got a round 2 Matt Burton, and when I say that out loud, it just seems weird for me. I can't quite get there.
That's well put,
It's
Simo.
weird. When I say round 2 Dylan Brown, it still feels right. So that's what sort of does it for me. But yeah, I see all your points. Like he's an ascending player in a good team now. Kicks goals.
It's the team, Simo.
Yeah.
It really is. It's that they're better. The reason I was off him last year is I got it wrong with the Dogs. I thought their small pack wouldn't work. It absolutely did. I know they faded back end and final was rough. I just feel regular season, same platform, good coaching, good chance. But it's ballsy what I've done. The other one for me, Todzer, is I've actually pushed Jaden Campbell way up into 3rd ahead of Dylan Brown. I'm struggling to see why that's not going to be upside.
Well, you wouldn't believe it, but I have him 3rd as well, mate. But I have him behind.
Hello.
Above Matty Burton. So yeah, mate.
Okay.
Like honestly, his ceiling is so high. Like
Huge.
Massive hotly. He's a winner, a week winner.
He is.
Berto hit 200s last year, and he can win your weeks, but he's definitely a lot more solid in that 5A role.
Yep.
Obviously, taking these guys pretty early determines sort of what you want to do with the rest of your team. But yeah, Jaden Campbell's huge for me. I think he's going to be like electric to watch and also Supercoach wise.
Injury risk is there. That's why he's got the injury tag on my rankings. It is part of it, but boy, if you get an 80% of games in that, especially home games, Titans, he's going to hit hundreds, boys.
We are dropping that, aren't we?
Go back to well on that one all day.
Did I tell you that I'm going to lots of home games in Robina this year? Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Tell us some more stories from last week.
Listen, listeners, listen. Do you see what I put up with? Like, they're having a go at me for being enthusiastic about watching footy. Like, are you for real?
Watching the Titans, thank you, not just footy.
Honestly.
There's going to be so many stories of you going up to watch Jaden Campbell.
When I owned him,
you're going to be pissed. Oh, you'll be so pissed. Or the train ride home.
You get those light bulb moments, boys, where I probably haven't been the biggest Jaden fan previously, but in terms of just I've always been nervous about injury. But there's something about him playing in the halves that I like a lot better for that than playing at fullback, where he just gets belted on kick returns.
He's going to get so much ball there that the way he plays, he's going to make things happen.
He is.
And real life, it might not be super pretty, but geez, for Supercoach, it's going to tick a lot of boxes.
Yep. And the goal kicking, obviously, boys. Goal kicking is the one. So I found it hard. There's a chance he moves to 2 in my rankings before the season goes out. You made some good points on Matt Burton, both of you. We mentioned Dylan Brown plenty. He belongs somewhere in these top few in everyone's rankings. Start of 2 all the way down to start of 3. He'll be drafted. We know this.
Yeah.
This is where things get juicy for the 5/8 for me. So whether you back the old boy in Cody Walker or you have a crack at any of the 3 lads beneath him. So Galvin, Dearden and Talangi. State a case for me, boys. To me, they're all very attractive options. With the one nervous part is Tommy Dearden for me, with his ridiculously bad floor. Yeah.
I think that Galvin's clearly going to go above Dearden in pretty much every draft, unless you're in a league just full of Queenslanders that just...
Queenslander.
Jeez, he was good at Origin. Oh,
he was.
He's so good.
He was defensively, Simo. Holy shit.
Yeah. And it's hard because I am a bit like, I think as a community we're all a bit down on Dearden, and I'm no different. Like he's one of those guys though. Like you're okay. You're never going to feel upset drafting Tommy Dearden because of what he's like as a real life player, because he just gives everything. So there's that. Like he's going to be pretty consistent, but Galvin's definitely a lot sexier in terms of Supercoach pedigree.
Yep.
Just ability to. Well, they can both make things happen, but Galvin's just got that more rogue style, attack, the offloading style that you can get to. So Galvin's going to go a lot higher in a draft, I think, than Tommy D. Cody Walker's an interesting one because I think Cody versus Dearden is really the discussion for mine. I think. Yep.
I think Walker's easily ahead of Dearden.
No, I'm saying ahead of. I'm talking about Galvin being.
Oh, sorry, Simo.
Galvin.
So
Galvin clearly above.
Yep.
Galvin clearly above, and then it's Dearden versus Walker as a discussion point.
And that's what, so Simo, I'll actually go, for me, I've got Dearden easily behind those two. For me, it's actually Walker Galvin.
Wow. See, there you go.
Yeah.
Difference of opinion there.
Yeah, that's Todd, so maybe you can be the tiebreaker.
Oh, if I have to, boys.
I'm struggling with Cody Walker. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I struggle with Cody Walker too. I have it ranked Cody Walker, Galvin, then Dearden. So I think that's the same as you.
All right, boys. It's okay to be wrong.
I just looked back at Cody Walker with Wayne Bennett, obviously, quite a few years ago, but averaged 65, 74, and 84 under Wayne Bennett in 19, 20, 21. Obviously, a completely different Cody Walker than what it is now, but I just think South's going to hum, and if that happens, then Cody Walker's going to be a big part of that.
You guys going to mention elevators right now, or?
Hey, Simo, please talk us through this.
Which one's going up? Which one's going down? This couldn't be more of a cut and dried situation, lads.
That's
couldn't be an elevator going express higher than Lockie Galvin.
And Jerome's going to take a lot of ball over there, brother.
That worries me a little bit too, Todd. Yeah. Agreed.
Right.
I'd like to go back and look at the 6 stats from when Jerome was playing halfback. It'd be interesting.
It's okay to be wrong, boys.
It's interesting. I have them very close, and I did struggle when I got to here behind the obvious top 4 gap. Then it's the next.
On behalf of any Cody Walker owner who had him last year, anyone listening to this, because I was there, I was a big part of that. If at any point last year anyone had even remotely suggested a trade of Cody Walker for Lockie Galvin, like I know Bennett's, there's been things that have changed, but that gap was so big.
It was
so big, and I just can't having Bennett come in and Luai come in doesn't close that gap enough for me.
Okay.
No, not even close.
That one could move, Simo. That one, I'm very close on those two. To me, the other one is Blaze Talangi, Todza.
Oof, talent.
There's extreme talent there. And we've seen it. We've seen little snips of upside from Supercoach.
We have.
Yes, the concern is he as inconsistent as Luai was when Cleary was dominating the show? I believe, Simo, you brought that up last week in the CTW potty. Boy, if it goes right, it's a big average.
If it goes right, but even if it goes right, like is it a 60+ average? There's just like that team across the park, man. Like I just don't. I understand the talent. I just don't see Blaze Talangi becoming this absolute monster Supercoach star with the likes of Isaiah Yeo, Nathan Cleary, Dylan Edwards commanding that much ball. Like I just don't see the opportunity for it. I think he knocks out a nice 55 average for the year, but and you'd probably be happy with that if you were to draft him. Yeah, it's going to be a lot like that. There's going to be the days where he slips your line and does something crazy good, but it's not the way that Penrith have usually played. They're very structured. They get down to their systems and do it well. So it'll be. I just don't see. I've got him sort of in that Trindle Hunt area where he could easily be the one that has the biggest upside, but I'm going to be taking a Trindle and Hunt before him just for that, the reassurance that I'm not going to get a 30.
Can introduce a concept, boys, much like the previous fame of Cisa Wanga line. Is he a 35-75 player, Tots?
Yeah. I don't mind that. That's how I feel about him this year. Yeah.
a sort of flourish 35, and then the big game, unfortunately, is only 75, and you're going, shit, was this actually worth it?
I think there's a bit more upside in him there in terms of
Mm.
not 70. I think he definitely can go bonkers.
You
I
do?
just think it's
Okay.
yeah, I do think he'll end up with a couple of hundreds for the year. I really do. If he knocks 200 or 300s up, I think that's where he's going to get, just based upon some line break tries and some individual brilliance. But in terms of throughout the whole season, I just think he's going to be solid enough. But yeah, there's a couple of guys I prefer to take. Metcalf, for example, definitely prefer to take. Trindle, just to be more consistent and solid for me.
So I'm a bit more aggressive on him, just based on, I think if you think 35, 75, you've now said that you think he's got the hundreds in him. That pushes him over the 60 mark for me with spike games, which I think for the value you should be able to get on him, and the fact you can actually play him as a CTW is decent to have, because like pairing him with a later option could be a pretty sneaky good play where if he's good, you could play both.
Yeah, I guess. I looking at my list here, I don't see any later options I'd like to pair him with that I would be frothing to start Blaze at the CT dubs and have a guy in the 5'8".
So, Mo, comparing then Blaze Talangi, to Ben Hunt is interesting, especially if he can find his way to hooker and you can play him as a 5'8", where he'll tackle the house down and plunge over pretty regularly.
Yeah. I was disappointed that you said Ben Hunt and not Tricky Trindle, because they were the three, the group of guys Toddy said, Hunt, Talangi and Trindle. To me, like, Talangi versus Trindle, it's Talangi by the absolute length of the straight.
Yep.
But Benny Hunt, that's a harder one because Hunt's range of outcomes are so big. Like,
huge.
If he plays, as we said earlier, if he ends up playing hooker for majority of the season,
monstrous.
I mean, let's be honest. That's probably the answer is going to be Ben Hunt, isn't it?
He's the number one hooker in Supercoach. But I think he smokes Grant week on week, to be honest.
That's a huge call.
I think if he plays hooker in a Brisbane team that's dominating, with Payne Haas diving towards the line he picks up, he's going to score for whoever's got him in their finals teams. It will be nuts.
Jeez, I think you're really sipping the Kool-Aid maybe a bit too much, but on Benny Hunt. But
I've said this since, mate. I've been on Ben Hunt to be hooker in the NRL standard for how many years in a row now? I think he's made for Supercoach in that position. It's nuts.
Yeah, look, we've just gone from he'll be better than Blaze Talangi to all of a sudden he's better than Harry freaking Grant.
Harry Grant, trash, mate. What are you on about?
Calm your jet, son.
Serious question: Blaze Talangi versus Harry Grant? Or...
You're an idiot. Why would you do that?
Blaze Talangi, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay. Range of outcomes, big Simo. I get you. He's scary, but maybe good value on Benny Hunt this year because of the uncertainty.
Oh yeah, and that's we touched on the duels earlier. Like that uncertainty around his positions, real life and Supercoach, make him one of the most intriguing players in a draft because the reason you're getting him so late is because no one knows what the fuck to do with him. Like
that's right.
What do you do with him when you get him? Like, he could be extreme value because if he ends up getting that hooker spot, like we say, unbelievable.
Okay. Luai also obviously eligible here, but let's be honest, if you're drafting him, you're playing him as a halfback.
Probably.
Lukey Metcalf, you might start the season at 5'8", but probably transition him to halfback, depending on who your halfback is. Probably. Braden Trindle, if he goal kicks, decently attractive here. Probably play him as your halfback. There's a few in here. Ethan Strange, you've already made some comments that I don't disagree with. Other than that, boys, the Luke Brooks early season hype from last year faded pretty bloody quick, didn't it?
Boy, that went quick.
Oh,
Holy.
boy. And did you find that the commentary about him being the best signing and everything, it went on a bit too long? And you're like, have you guys been watching the last 7 weeks where he looks trash?
Yeah, it went bad real quick.
Did it what? So, yeah. Not really keen to start there. I'd love to see Will Price start as 5'8" for the Knights. I've said this. I know he can't defend that well, but his attack for Supercoach would be chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Dewey has crushed it
what?
as a centre. He has crushed it.
Brother, I wouldn't touch him with a 7-foot pole.
Don't think he's a fan of yours either, Todd, to be fair.
Good.
Geez, you've been burnt by him a few times, Toddy.
But my heart into pieces.
Oh, nice. I'd love to
Anyways.
hear you sing on this pod, Todd. That would make me so happy.
We all know I can't sing. Anyway, Adam
Did
Dewey.
you went there, didn't you? A bit of Papa Roach. Got my life into
Yeah, it's
pieces.
good stuff.
Good track. Yeah,
It's a
good
ripper.
track.
Still gets going on my Anarchist playlist. Good gear. Any of these other
Well
five eights
done.
doing it for you?
You've restrained yourself. I'm very happy with it. Yeah,
You're welcome.
nothing intimate about it.
Fair
We don't
weeks.
talk about intimate things on this podcast, all right?
I'm proud of you. Yeah, you
No.
took all your restraint.
Your face last week, Todza, was one of my favorite things I've seen in a while.
Well, yeah, I was disturbed. So that's exactly what they saw.
Mate, my DMs lit up about playing board games with your misso and how important it is to unplug from the technology, but okay.
Log
Yeah.
back into life, boys.
Yeah.
A bit of evanescence. Don't make me sing. No, I'm out. Okay. Jumping back in here, I probably have Adam Dewey a bit low. I think he is a decent enough stab, boys. He's shown a little bit when he's played in the centres for Supercoach. I don't know why you wouldn't put him at the back end of your roster and just, you can play him as a CTW. Imagine if he does average 60 plus.
Yeah, I think the
Could be a
big thing with
sneaky.
Dewey, the big thing with him too is like, geez, there were some games last year that Coruscant found reasons not to kick goals.
Yeah.
Like, Aiden Caesar kicked a ridiculous number
Oh,
of goal
don't.
attempts. Like,
God.
not to say that he should have, but Coruscant was, I think, either like done cramp or suspended, whatever. Like, for a guy that was pretty much the full-time kicker the whole year, he took a lot of shots. Well, he missed a lot of shots that he probably should have been taking. So
Yeah.
there's room there for Dewey to kick a decent amount. And I don't
Yep.
really know if Coruscant's set on kicking the whole year if he had his own way. So
He's not a natural goal kicker at all.
I wouldn't be shocked if Dewey ended up kicking the most for the Tigers. Would I say it's going to happen? No, but I think it needs to be at least discussed because Dewey can hit him.
I pushed him up, boys, as we've spoken. I had him way too low. I've got him ahead of Luke Brooks now, sitting in 13. I think he's a very good stab. As well, just probably the last time he'll ever be mentioned on our podcast, but Aiden Caesar, Todza, what's he best known for?
Being a shit footballer, I don't know.
Aligned,
actually
if you
best-
want to see the definition of
drop.
how to hip throw, the hip drop,
Oh,
that's
the hip drop.
Simo's all over it.
He-
I swear, he's done it
He
again,
was so
boys.
confused.
He'd do it, and he'd be like, "What, ref? What did I do?" There's the definition, Aiden. This is exactly, you've just shown us what not to do.
You love the ref just point at the replay and say, "Look at what you've just done."
What?
Oh,
What?
you're upset off?
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about hip
Was never the
drops.
biggest Aiden Caesar fan, to be fair. The Ezra Mam pickle, gentlemen. We know the talent's there. Hasn't actually translated fully to Supercoach as yet, but boy, is the upside there. He either comes back and tears it up in a team that's already really competitive and could be a real winner for people in finals, or does he come back a bit timid and just sort of settles in for a while? Todzo, your thoughts on which outcome?
Jeez. I think it's a second outcome. I think it's comes back and it just fizzles out and just has a Ezra Man type of year where he averages 50 from that point onwards.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's what happens. Ezra Man got that awesome highlights and man played well in that final, but yeah, it just hasn't clicked for Ezra Man yet. And I just don't think that sitting out the first 9 rounds is going to help him click.
Simo?
I actually kind of thought he was the guy you were talking about with the 35-75 rule before.
Yeah, he's close.
Outside of the grand final heroics, I mean,
Mm.
yeah, like does something good with the 75. That's about it.
My thoughts on Ezra being a massive fan, Simo, is if
You are a
he
massive
always
fan,
looks like
yes.
he has a niggling injury. He always has a knee strapped where he looks like he's not running properly. He'll do the one amazing big play, and you're like, oh, we're on tonight. Then he'll hobble away from that, and he barely gets involved. That just could be him as a player. Don't know.
It's him as a person as well. Hobbling away from that crash, dog.
It's hard to defend him and defend that. It's very disappointing behaviour in the public eye. But we're Supercoach people here. Is there ever going to be a 60-plus average beside Ezra Mam's name?
Oh, I think there will be. I think there will be in years to come. But
is he that different to Dylan Brown, Todd? That's the point I'm making.
Yes. He's
because why? Supercoach wise, why?
I don't think he's as crafty with the ball in hand. I think he's very good at taking a line and hitting a hole, being a support player. And Dylan Brown has all of that. But Dylan Brown's way silky with his hands, and definitely his distribution and opening up players is way better than Ezra Mam.
I agree. Yeah, I think he might
Dylan
just
Brown's
be...
lateral footwork is so good.
Right, Dylan Brown is a silky player to watch, man. I love Dylan Brown.
Perfect answer. I think so too. And anyone who thought he'd be a round one pick in his career.
Oh, that is one of your worst, I reckon.
That's my Xavier Coates moment right there.
That wasn't that bad. First round Ezra
For
Mam.
a slightly different reason, it was pretty funny.
That was just a misprint by me.
Oh, technicality.
I was having technical issues.
Okay. Down here, Jackie White in this stage of his career, when he played in the centres, it was pretty decent. Let's not pretend, but it's too late in the career for him to make a surge at 5'8" for us, right? Surely.
He's not the worst shout as a guy that could hit a 55 average in that South team. Like
maybe.
You get him late enough that it's worth a crack.
Yep.
Like I wouldn't be writing him off by any means. Like, am I targeting him? Targeting him? Absolutely not.
No.
But yeah, late enough. There's a range of outcomes there that I'm okay with taking him.
Good real life player, we know that, and maybe his game translates to a long one, Simo, because he's not built on speed; he's built on power, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, okay. And if South's a great, he does. Oh, tremendous real life player. Occasional boneheaded moments, but yeah, all right.
These days, but yeah.
The back end of this, once you get down that deep, if Daniel Atkinson makes his way into a starting spot, you don't have to draft him, but he'll be usable. Tyron Wishart, we mentioned. Schneider, he's a fill-in. Kieran Foran looks like a 14 role. Latu Fainu for injury. Not interested. Tyson Gamble, Jack Cogger, forget about it. And obviously Kyle Flanagan, out of respect. Mighty team, mate. Just warming the seat for Dylan Brown in a year's time. Do not take that away from me.
That's not happening. Why would you want to go there? Holy.
Oh, there's so many. You opened so many jokes there, but I'm not going to take the low-hanging fruit about nightclubs and stuff. So, right. Do we want to do hooker as well while we got momentum here, boys? We're an hour and 10 minutes in.
Why not? Yeah,
yes, boys. I'm enjoying this potty. Good energy tonight.
Go on. Here we go.
All right. Number one, obviously, is Ben Hunt.
I knew that was coming. I was like, this is open for a Ben Hunt right here. Boom. Very nice.
Say no more.
Dad joke humor without being a dad. It's a beautiful moment, right? Smell your own farts. Right. Harry Grant, number one, with a gap.
Oh, it's a gap, all right. Holy
There's a big gap. Probably bigger than we've seen for a while in a position, fair to say.
I got a massive gap here. Right? It's unbelievable.
I don't reckon it's that much different than last year, though.
Which was a 8-point gap on average.
It's still pretty big. I think because we were so wrong on Damien Cook, and everyone was, that he was still going to have it. We dropped the ball.
Gap. My bad.
However, the value of Harry Grant was still not great last year. The first half of the year would have been painful AF to own. I hate him as a round one pick still. I think he's a terrible pick in the round one. Thoughts?
Yeah.
Anyone that took him there last year would totally be agreeing with you and would not be doing it again.
I worry with fantastic bench options in Tyron Wishart, can spell him at any given moment. and do a very good job. They want to wrap him in wool. They want to win it this year. They should be the overwhelming favourites with the team they have. They want to keep him fit. Keep him fit through Origin.
Yeah, their season is defined by do they win it or not.
That's it.
It's
they have the
it's
best
only
team.
really them and Penrith that can say that just about.
And I believe Penrith have just come back a little bit with the 2 big losses. Like, you don't lose Fisher Harris especially and just keep going in the same train. He's a huge knockdown, even in culture for them. I think it's Storm's season for mine. That worries. That makes Harry Grant even less of a first round pick for me.
Mm-hmm. I was all about him in the first last year. I was all about him, but yeah, just definitely can't do it this year. It's with the Wishart factor. Yeah, just you just can't pay up there for Harry Grant.
You can't. And the problem is, we had the luxury, Simo, back in the day, mate. You and I back and forthing on Cam Smith in round 1 was the lottery pick because he kicked goals. It was stupid. His floor upside combo was as good as we pretty much, him and Corey Parker sort of range, Paul Gallen, type of.
Parker was just a different level, but yeah, like Cameron Smith being hooker eligible, that was what the real kicker was. He was so much better than everyone else at that.
He was always someone you and I fought for in round 1, depending where we were. Great player. This is not this, guys. Don't think just because Harry Grant's talent and his ascension to a all-time great potentially is Cam Smith in Supercoach. It isn't. Do I think he's a phenomenal pickup for anyone at the start of round 2? Yeah, completely flips for mine. The next guys off the list, Boyd, I find this hard to rank, and I'm sure you guys were the same. I went Marshall King, Coruscant, Reece Robson, Maxi Plath, Connor Watson, Cam McInnes. For me, I'm pretty comfortable with them as a top 7. Do either of you disagree?
This is Toddy's chance to talk about McInnes, surely.
McInnes, yeah, got him in my number 7 spot. Thank you. Yes.
Yes, exact same as me, Tots.
That's where he is. And then, I don't have Marshall King as high, but that's the 7 that I have.
I will be fading JMK a bit as I've read a bit more about the Tom Gilbert and Maxi Plath situation, about the need. Obviously, Maxi Plath has earned minutes. We know this. Worried that means JMK's dominance over 80 minutes might be just about in trouble.
Yeah. I think that's the case too. I've been hearing that Tommy Gilbert is going to play in that lock role. So Maxi Plath probably, he took a bit of a bump for me too, unfortunately. But JMK's, if you get back to the year before, like get back to a 63 average, he was unreal. Like, he was really good. He has everything, all the tools to do it again. And that was in a pretty average Dolphins team as well, right? So, I've got Coruscant and Robson ahead of him. I've said Marshall King for 4 hole.
I've moved it.
Yours is better. That's where I'm rocking him there. Just because of that Gilbert news that he's doing work at lock. So
I love a bit of Coro this year, boys. I'm finding it hard to think he might be phenomenal value if you can get him a lot later than Grant. That comparative value makes him very juicy to me, Simo.
Yeah, he's like, we were all over him last year as well, as everyone was, because of the goal kicking and whatnot. And with the Tigers being better, obviously that just all the reasons we liked him last year should only be tenfold this year. I love the shout. I do toy with it. See, the name with me that really, I wish I could have the balls to do it, but I mean, fuck, I'm high on Connor Watson.
I've got him. Well. I moved him up to 4, Simo, just as we were doing. I moved JMK and Plath beneath him now. What's not to like?
I could wake up tomorrow and just decide, you know what, Connor Watson's the second best hooker in Supercoach. I could easily do it.
But listeners, the homerism in Simo just never ends. He cannot help himself.
Can't help it. No. He's like the only rooster I'd be prepared to draft.
It's the elevators.
Yeah, he's the only rooster draftable. Fuck Teddy off.
He is such a good real life player and absolutely deserved his Origin gig. And boy, did he belong in that.
Oh yeah,
setting.
He killed it.
He's one of my favorite players. I hated the Knights couldn't make it work and keep him. He's just a great player.
Yeah. What gives me pause is he finds a way to an injury most years, pretty consistently as well, mind you,
He does.
which is the worry. I do, yeah. As I say, I could wake up and make the move. When I really sit and think about it, I just think there's too many issues with Connor Watson maybe lasting the year.
Yep.
That I just sort of think, oh, do I really want to be that ballsy about it? Because the other guys are so much safer.
Guys, Reece Robson's so boring though. He's so overrated. I think in real life, I'm not that big a fan either, personally.
Really?
I think it's the Supercoach bleeds into my feeling of him as a player, right? And he was good in it. He is not worth the price you pay for him in drafts, and he never has been.
Got that, Reece Robson.
I mean, I guess his good year. I guess his really good year. He was lowly drafted, so he blew up.
True.
But for me, Reece Robson is just so consistent. You're happy to settle for him. He's exactly like Dearden for me. And it's funny that they're in the same team in real life.
They're two guys they're just way off my radar. I don't think for the price you pay, you get the upside or floor combo that's that amazing.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, they can be off your radar. It's easy to say that. Like, you might not be. They're not targets. They're probably not targets for anyone. But at some point in a draft, they become a decent enough value where they put a nice little bow on your team. They're not the sexy names that, well, especially Robson isn't any as he was a couple of years ago. But for me, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm targeting Robson by any means, but I'm perfectly okay with him above Plath, above McInnes.
JMK?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have him above JMK because of JMK's attacking upside is a lot more consistent. But yeah, JMK is someone who's he's really hard to rank.
I've got him now.
Yeah, I've got him third, but behind Coruscant. So I've kind of gone a long way around in saying that I do have it that way. It's just that Connor Watson just keeps glaring me in the face at 4, going, I've got to move him higher.
Todza, I believe you have had a bit of love for Reece Robson.
Oh, had him last year, mate. Safe as houses.
So safe as houses, but you had to pony up to get him. You weren't. I'm not saying like the bank or a high draft pick.
No.
But relative to other hookers, you had to spend up, right?
So I'm looking at my list. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I did have to spend up to get Reece Robson. I was pretty high on him last year, and he was safe. He did what I. Yeah. Obviously, he didn't have those big crazy scores like your Harry Grant gets when he gets over and stuff like that. But he was just really consistent. And that's why I've got him right there at the third. I think he's going to average about the same this year. So you got to get 60 average out, 61, something like that.
Origin plays Origin, so terrible bye coverage.
Yeah, rough bye coverage. But so does Connor Watson. He's going to play Origin probably again. True. If he's playing well. But like when I look at that that drop off from McInnes down, McInnes, Plath, Brayley, you're going to be drafting them way later. But you're giving up 5 points a game, 6 points a game. Just where you could have that consistent guy, that consistent 60 straight away. That's just locked in. So
I like where you went there, Tods. So comparing him to just waiting pretty late. No one likes Reed Marnie, so you can draft him quite late in a lot of drafts.
I like Reed Marnie. I think he's hilarious.
Everyone bar Todd and me. I'm a bit of a closet Marnie fan. Piss off, Hetherington. Your Blake Brayley, the ho-hum 50 to 55 guys.
Yeah.
It's like, I personally just think you almost just punt the position. I've said this for year on year. I really don't think hooker almost matters at all. If you happen to get, to me, you've been brilliant at this, you get your Jazz Tavangas who have the hooker eligibility that you can sneak in there with good base. Maxi Plath for you last year.
Yeah.
That's really what you want. If you can get one of those guys, that's the base I'm keen on. Then don't pony up for one of the top guys. I just don't think it gives you, I guess, week to week upside to win.
Yeah, it's not a position that really moves the needle a lot. For the record, Plath was not hooker available last year, but I see your point.
Sorry, he's 5'8". Was it? What
he was 5'8" last year.
Yeah, that similar argument I've seen you do in 5'8" is that that version of the high base guy that you can just put away to the side. He's got tackle upside to get to 70 sometimes. That's mint.
Yeah. McInnes is interesting to talk about
He is.
because I was kind of shocked that he was hooker available. Initially, I thought it was a bit of a stuff up, but then I looked into it a bit more, and obviously when there was those few games where Hines was injured and Blake Brayley played 7, and McInnes played 9 for a bit, or at least they were named that way.
It was named twice at 9, yeah.
That's right.
They didn't actually play that way, which is a bit weird. But McInnes is just your consistent, tackles and runs. You'd love him if he could ever find his way to more minutes. He'd be so good. It's just.
Do you remember the Finucane McInnes conundrum, Simo, we faced for year on year?
Yeah.
Get playing guitar though.
With AFB there, I just don't see how the minutes get better.
Yeah.
They probably stay the same. I'm not going to say they get worse, but I just don't think they get better either. So
yeah, agreed. It's
hard to be super high on McInnes, but he's probably someone you can settle for and get reasonably late in the draft because he's not a super sexy pick even at 2RF. So
I think he's a ripper. He's a ripper pick later for the exact reason I said. You can punt the position probably to round 7 plus.
Yeah, at least, yeah.
I can't see that being painful for you. You know what you're getting each week. Get upside elsewhere. Reed Marnie, Blake Brayley are the other solids that you know what you're getting. They'll mostly not crucify you with a tiny little spike upside, but also can get them hopefully pretty late. War of the lottery picks are Sandon Smith, Blake Moser, hopefully a starting Tom Starling. Would be nice.
Tommy.
Would be good. No, one of our darling Starling, Simo.
Yep. Thanks, Ricky.
Peter,
I did say I loved you, but do I actually?
Oh, not with Tommy Starling comes into the play. Peter Mamazoulos, Wade Egan, the amazingly good spot start on occasion, but boy, can he get concussions about 20 minutes into a game.
How good did Healy look coming on for him, by the way?
Interesting, isn't it?
Boy, he
better
looked
than Freddie Lussick.
Jeez, I think I can play hooker better than him. Really.
We've had strong feelings.
I've seen you on a Saturday night, mate. I think.
The other ones here. So Blake Moser, worth mentioning, guys. Draft him just in case because it could be really good.
Is that the same advice you're giving from Mamazolis?
A little less interested because I don't think he is as dynamic as Blake Moser is with the ball. But
yeah, and Humphreys
maybe
probably get that 14 role too.
Probably. So maybe I don't mind him. Yeah, I just feel like it's going to be ho-hum, Simo, like 35 tackles with like 1 run.
His job will be pass it to Cody Latrell.
That's kind of what I was thinking too.
Fair enough.
Whereas at least Tommy Starling can do some stuff. And Blake Moser, it'll face ball to Payne Haas running across the line, you know? Jaden Brayley, what a shame his career's fizzled out due to injury. Had all the talent to be a Supercoach 60-plus guy for us, much higher. Redemption arc, Simo, maybe.
Yeah, he's another one that if you completely punt, like I mean, you punt it like you said, but then you even punt it again.
Yeah.
And you just wait and you wait and you wait.
Yeah.
And you just let's say you're the last guy to take a hooker and someone doubles up before you get a chance. That's when you take him.
What is it? Break glass in case of emergency pick is Jaden Brayley. All right.
Yeah.
Ahead of Brendan Hands, Chris Randall, Mitch Kenny, annoyingly sometimes being Supercoach relevant in waiver weeks, and then you start him and he scores 22. He's
trash.
Annoying as shit. Sam Verrills, that fizzled badly.
Did you have no love for Sam Verrills?
He just hasn't shown it, mate. It's too many chances. Very good player.
Okay.
With Randall hovering around, it's I don't know. State your case, Tots.
I thought he was starting to show some things at the end of last year, but
okay.
Could be
better
wrong.
Team likely.
2024. Yeah, look, he played the last 9 games at hooker.
Yeah.
Well, he averaged around that 50 mark. yeah, obviously the injury risk is crazy with,
Mm.
and also having Chris Randall come back as well. Probably
Yeah.
with Tino back, he'll probably play some hooker. So yeah, probably not a flash pick. My bad.
Is Sandon Smith too risky to play as your hooker, or do you think there's merit there, Simo?
Simo's go.
I've got no issue with it. Like, if he's okay to play at halfback, he's okay to play at hooker. So,
Yeah. Okay.
if anything, he's got upside. So,
I was gonna say maybe he's a good sneaky little pick there.
yeah.
I'm trying not to take too many rankings away from halfback, mate. So I wanted you to say no.
Yeah, it is tricky. Yeah.
Yep.
What about Owen Paddy, boys? Canberra superstar in the preseason there.
Sounds great, but he also plays for Canberra, where Ricky hates hookers. Hates hookers.
Oh, Danny Levi's still there, so they're both.
Yeah, that's all right.
He won't be anymore. He's got to go.
Do you remember when Danny Levi was their top scorer through like 6 weeks?
Yeah. He had like 4 tries. Unbelievable.
Oh dear.
First week he got down, he gave it the bigger ones. It's like, oh, he stayed in the team for the next 5 weeks.
But then he had that break and celebrated too early. And
Yeah.
Yes. It's like that's the Danny Levi we know.
Yes, Danny.
Yeah.
Boys, overall, you may as well, pardon me, take a punt on one of Coruscant, Watson. Yeah, they're probably the two guys that could, like, Connor Watson, if he keeps crushing it, could average 65 plus, right? I think that's a realistic outcome.
Realistically, yeah.
So one of those two, who you can probably take somewhere in round 3, hopefully, if you want to go, if you're feeling frisky. I wouldn't like it in round 2. I don't think that'd be a bad pick, personally. But
No.
round 3 or on, or settle in for one of those some more solid guys in the middle, but just don't overspend. Don't waste your draft picks on these hookers, I don't think. Halfback as well, boys. We actually missed one position here I just wanted to quickly touch on. We didn't mention the Cowboys option. If Tom Duffy starts and goal kicks, how close does he get to your top 10 rankings, Totsa?
I haven't watched any of Tom Duffy play, so I couldn't tell. But starts and goal kicks, slot him somewhere, near above Isaiah Katoa kind of thing, like that 50 average. I haven't seen enough of him to play to rank him any higher than that. Like, he'd be in that little group with Katoa and Sanders, and that unknown could be good.
Simo, put him up against the South boys, given he's got the goal kicking. Any interest?
Yeah. I think I'd rather have the Souths guys, to be frank. It's probably the way to go.
Probably.
Yeah, I just think it's a bit safer.
I would just pay really close attention to potential round 1 lists, because if he is named, I believe he should be drafted.
Yeah, that's fair, mate. That's fair.
Yep. All right, boys. That was a bloody ripper. I think I got a bit of momentum there.
Just on, can we just go back to hooker for a minute? Did we
Yes,
touch on the Little and Cook situation? And did I just miss it?
No, we didn't.
No,
Feel
so
free,
no,
but you
we
have
didn't.
the floor.
Oh, I've just wanted to touch on them, mate. Little last year, I mean, is
Amazing.
incredible. Obviously, that's not going to happen this year, but with the talk of Damien Cook kind of starting the game, then heading into a lock role, are either of you guys keen on Damien Cook or even Little playing a 65-minute role? I think Little needs a lot more, like, to have the 70-plus minute games to be relevant. But what's your thoughts?
Simo?
Yeah, it sounds good for Cookie, doesn't it? Like starting at 9, then going back to the middle there. I would imagine like Cookie plays first 20, Little comes on, probably plays the rest of the game out. They'll probably share the role a lot of the time as well, because they can both play 13, let's be honest. I just worry a little bit that we can't just assume that because Cook is starting at 9 and then moving back to middle forward, that automatically means he's going to still see 80. Like, I think he'll still end up getting quite a few rests there, especially if they do get run over through the middle. I think the size could be a big issue because Dragons aren't, they're not predicted to do super well in the ladder. So I could see Flanagan maybe doing away with that option as the year goes on. It's easy to say it now, but once they start copping a few losses, are you going to stick with it? So I don't mind Cookie as we see here today, but as I think about it over the course of the season, I do worry about what the longevity could be. About it is a situation that we all know is a bit dodgy, and it probably is the smart thing to stay away. But
Yeah.
I'm okay with Cookie. Probably, like to me, he's better than Marnie and Brayley.
Yep.
Because if he does play lock for a longer period of time, he should get a lot of run stats as well. But I couldn't put him any higher than that. I think he's just because I am a little bit concerned about the role over the course of the year.
It's funny as we're talking live on a player. So I'd even overpassed him because I hadn't put a lot of thought in there because I'd seen Little and I thought they'd bastardize each other.
Yeah.
Just throw it out there. Ball's played to Damien Cook. He looks to his left and he sees Lachlan Ilias. He's like, no, don't like that. He goes further wide. He's like, Jesus, Kyle Flanagan? Really? He's like, I might just dummy and run this. Try and find Jaden Sewer or Moses Sully and set it up. Is there a chance that he just commands this sort of Cam Smith-like with his seniority and just plays a lot of the action?
Boy, I can see a whole lot of Damien Cook scooting and running, and then Damien Cook skipping past Ilias and finding Gutho at the back.
I kind of can too. Those two
and
just
Gutho
connecting a lot. I don't know. Like I just have one of those live thoughts.
Yeah.
Maybe he could be a really good sneaky pick this year.
Yeah, I really struggled with Little and Cook ranking them. Like I just thought they're going to eat into each other too much, and then the news comes out that Cookie's going to be playing a bit of lock, which ticked them up a bit for me. But yeah, I just don't know where to have them ranked.
How close?
Where have you settled in there, Toddy?
I got Cookie at 9, so behind Max Plath.
I got him at 8, behind Plath and McInnes.
I love the Plath ranking there. By the way, I think that's. I was going to say ballsy, but I love the sense behind it because if it goes as poorly as you sort of made out, then that's a justified ranking there. It's hard to see Plath ever finishing there, though, isn't it? Because he'll either be way worse or probably way better. It's a hard ranking of Plath.
Yeah,
I somehow finds his way to 70+ minutes. Well, he's going to be ranked 2 probably.
Exactly. But if he only gets 50 minutes, he's going to be like hooker 14 or something.
And sort of annoying to own because his tackle stats will get him up there just enough, but you'll be like, why did I pony up?
Yeah.
He's a 47 to 52 scores in 50 minutes.
Which is what Cam McInnes has been guilty of far too often as well. As I write this, as we record this, I should say, I'm very tempted to move Damien Cook up to 6 ahead of Plath and McInnes. That'll be interesting. I'm going to leave it for now, but I reckon that's a very good conversation.
Just to go back on something there, mate, like you mentioned about taking those guys round 2. When you really think about Harry Grant going the start of round 2, like how disgusting is the value if someone is taking Coruscant or JMK, whoever they've got? They're taking them only 7 or 8, 9 picks later. It's pretty gross to say out loud.
Gee, that's why it doesn't look very attractive, does it?
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Just wait and probably grab one of the Plath, McInnes, Damien Cook is a decent option in round 5 on.
Yeah,
Plath could go earlier because of the average and how he finished last year. I probably won't be the Max Plath owner for that reason because I don't think he offers that much of an advantage. But I guess he could play 70 minutes plus.
Well, the big thing is with Plath, he becomes a value at one point there because what if Tommy Gilbert plays prop, and
then you've nailed it.
Then you've got away with the highway robbery. So
he'll be challenging Harry potentially. He should average close to 70. I would like to think.
Yeah, that's the allure of Plath. Like you can't just cross him off your board because it's a long season. People get injured, so it's just a shame for Plath that last year it was JMK. Yeah, like JMK, him playing hooker isn't his best spot for Supercoach, but I mean, God forbid they lose another front rower and they push Gilbert to 10, and Maxi Plath ends up playing, 65 minutes at hooker as a lock.
Oof.
I mean,
Yeah, it's
Gilbert.
golden.
Yeah.
I've also just gone back and moved Galvin over Walker, Simo. Because of everything you said prior, but now what you just said now, I forgot about the round 26. Definitely Galvin ahead of Walker.
It's okay to be wrong, mate. Well done.
I've
It's a
admitted
big man
it. Put my hands
it's
up.
a big man to admit it. I'm proud
Thank
of you.
you, mate.
It's an intimate moment.
Well,
I think you ever said anything that's nice to me.
just got as bad as it did at the end of last episode.
Oh, did you want to talk about the extracurriculars, Todd? Is that what's missing here?
No.
So I played Game of Life tonight, mate. It's a bloody good game if you ever played it with that spinny thing. It's good gear.
Yep. Sure
No, I
you
actually
did.
went to the driving range, to be fair. Need to smash away some frustration.
Fair enough, brother. All right, boys.
All right, good gear. What is left, listeners, will be the FRF 2RF is our final
Oh,
preseason
yes,
footy.
the big boppers.
The big boppers. We'll
Hell yeah.
spend all of 2 minutes on the FRF and move to the 2RF.
All right, I've gone deep in FRF this year, boys.
All right, mate. How deep? Give the listeners
I've
something to
got
look forward
6
to.
guys lined up here.
Six.
Six.
Mate,
I got
bloody-
59 deep.
Oh, you got more than me. Holy, I got 53.
59 deep and
God.
Some notes for
87
something.
deep in the 2RF.
Yeah,
That's too many front rowers. We'll waste the time. All right.
I put
Holy.
some work in here. But listeners as well, for those who've tuned in to our second, hopefully slightly better quality. We're working on the technology, boys and ladies. Shout out to our lady listeners.
Tell you what, after last week's quality, I don't know if they're here anymore.
Well, it's better to have blurred faces, mate. It makes us look more attractive, right? Honestly.
True.
Anyway, you're a sexy man, Todd. But yeah, we're working on it, listeners. Hopefully the audio quality is still up there, which we believe it is, and will get better and better. So thanks for joining in and tuning into the YouTubes. Obviously, always looking for sponsors. Dallin, if you're out there, mate, biggest fan.
Ooh,
Love
he
your
wasn't putting
watches.
too many watches on his
The
wrist.
old
at the moment,
broken
really.
wrist, yeah.
Holy.
No watches getting on.
It's all a ploy to just show off the wrist, I reckon.
Maybe.
Dallin,
Well,
Todd's up.
Yes,
This
mate.
is genuine energy and form from you tonight.
Oh,
mate.
thanks,
Thank you.
mate. Thought I'd wear my best shirt and put on my best hat for you. So there you go.
Buffalo Soldier.
Good Bob.
Yeah, it is. Simo, absolutely
mate.
on fire, mate.
I love you on the. What are you on tonight? The Rumbos or what are you sipping away on?
Just had some beautiful bourbon tonight.
The Burbs. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
a
like
bit
it.
of
I
a
like that.
Buffalo Trace this evening.
Yeah, it's good for your eyes, mate. We can all see them now, so look at that.
What
Not-
from my eyes last time?
Not a bit hungover. Oh, a little bit there.
I'm a
Bit of
tired man at
bloodshot,
the moment.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's been rough.
No, it's all good, mate. It's a pleasure.
Awesome, lads. All right, listeners, we've got our draft this weekend, so absolutely pumped about that on Sunday. For those who've regularly listened, we are auction drafters, so $300 each. Punt away for players as they're nommed. Can't wait. We'll post the results and you can let us know how we did. Obviously, I'll just dominate again at the draft and then fail in season. Simo, your title again?
Right. Not going to say no. Well,
No.
I'll sign
But as
sign
always,
right up for that.
listeners, thank you for tuning in and get that BDE India. Oh, yeah.